Om Sai Ram. Sai Satcharitra Chapter 11. Topic: Sai as Sagun Brahman, Dr. Pandit Haji Siddiq Falke, Control over the Elements. Sai as Sagun Brahman. There are two aspects of God or the Brahman: the invisible, that is Nirgun, and the visible, that is Sagun. The Nirgun is formless, while the Sagun has a form, and both denote the same Brahman. Some prefer to worship the former and some the latter. As stated in the Gita, chapter 12, the worship of the latter is easy and preferable. As man has got a form, that is, body, senses, etc., it is natural and easy for him to worship the God with form. Our love and devotion do not develop unless we first worship Sagun Brahman for a certain period of time, and as we advance, it leads us to the worship of the Nirgun Brahman. So let us start the Sagun worship. An image, an altar, fire, light, sun, water, and the Brahman are the seven objects of worship. But the Sadguru is better than all of this. Let us, on this occasion, bring to our mind the form of Sai, who was non attachment incarnate and who was a resting place for his sincere devotees. Our faith in his words is the seat of his asan and our sankalpa. Determination to start and finish the puja is the abundant of all our desires. Some say that Sai was a Bhagavat Bhakta, devotee of the Lord, while others say he was a Mahabhagavad Bhakta, that is, a great devotee, but to us, his God incarnate. He was extremely forgiving, never irritable, honest, soft, tolerant, and content beyond comparison. Though he looked embodied, he was really disembodied, emotionless, unattached, and internally free. The Ganges, on its way to the sea, cools and refreshes the creatures affected by the heat, gives life to the crops and trees, and quenches the thirst of many. Similarly, saints like Sai, while they live their own life, give solace and comfort to everyone. Lord Krishna has said that the saint is my soul, my living image. I am him, or rather, he is my pure form. This is describable power of God, known as pure existence, knowledge, and bliss, incarnated in the form of Sai in Shirdi. The Shruti describes Brahman as bliss. This we read or hear daily in religious books, but devout people experience this Brahman or bliss in Shirdi. Baba, who supported everyone, required no support from anybody. He always used a piece of sackcloth for his seat, which was covered with a small, beautiful bed by his devotees and a pillow to support his back. Baba respected the feelings of his devotees and allowed them to worship him as they liked. Some waved chamara or fans before him, some played on musical instruments, others washed his feet and hands, while some applied scents. Some offered Baba betel nuts with leaves and other things, and others offered naivedya, that is, offering of God. Though he looked like he was living in Shirdi, he was present everywhere. This all pervasiveness was experienced daily by his devotees. Dr. Pandit's worship. Dr. Pandit, a friend of Tatya Sahib Nulkar, once came to Shirdi to receive Baba's darshan. After bowing before Baba, he stayed in the masjid for some time. Baba asked him to go and meet Dadabad Kelkar. He went to Dadabad, by whom he was well received. Then Dadabad left his house for the Aati Puja and Dr. Pandit accompanied him. Dadabad worshipped Baba and nobody until then he had dared to apply sandal paste to Baba's forehead. Only Malsapati used to apply it to Baba's throat, but the simple hearted and devout Dr. Pandit took Dadabad's dish with puja material. which contained sandal paste, and drew three horizontal lines on Baba's forehead. To everyone's surprise, Baba was silent and did not object to this. Then Dada Bhatt that evening asked Baba, "How was it that you object to sandal paste being applied by others to your forehead, while you allow Dr. Pandit to do so?" Baba replied that Dr. Pandit believed him to be the same as his guru, Raghunath Maharaj of Dhopeshwar, known as Kaka Puranik, and he applied the paste to Baba's forehead as he would do to his guru. Hence, Baba could not object. On inquiry, Dr. Pandit told Dada but that he indeed took Baba to be his guru, Kaka Puranik, and hence he had drawn the lines on Baba's forehead. Though Baba allowed devotees to worship him as they pleased, sometimes he acted in strange ways. Sometimes he threw away the puja dish and was wrath incarnate. Then could approach him. Sometimes he scolded devotees. Later, he looked softer than wax, a statue of peace and forgiveness. Though he seemed to shake with anger and his red eye rolled, he was internally a stream of affection and motherly love. Immediately, he called out to his devotees and said that he would only be angry with his devotees if mothers kicked their children and if the sea turned back the rivers. He felt he was a servant of his devotees, always stood by them and responded to them whenever they called upon him, and thus he always longed for their love. Haji Siddiq Falke. There was no telling when Baba would accept a devotee. That depended on his sweet will. Siddiq Falke's story demonstrates this point. A Muslim gentleman named Siddiq Falke of Kalyan, after a pilgrimage to Mecca and Medina, came to Shirdi. He lived in a chawdi facing the north and sat in the open courtyard of the masjid. For 9 months, Baba ignored him and did not allow him to step into the masjid. Falke felt very disconsolate and did not know what to do. Somebody advised him not to be disappointed but to try and approach Baba through Shama, that is Madhav Rao Deshpande, a devotee who was very close to Baba. Falke liked the idea and implored Shama to intercede for him. Shama agreed on a convenient occasion, spoke to Baba, "Why don't you allow the old Haji to step into the masjid? When so many people come and receive your darshan, why not bless him once?" Baba replied, "Shama, you are too young to understand things. If the fakir does not allow, what can I do? Without his grace, who will climb into the masjid? Well, go to him and ask him whether he will come to the narrow footpath near the well." Shama went and returned with an affirmative answer. Baba then said to Shama, "Ask him whether he is willing to pay me the sum of 40,000 rupees in 4 installments." Shama went and returned with the answer that Falke was even willing to pay 4 million rupees. And then Baba said to Shama, "We are going to butcher a goat in the masjid, so ask him whether he would like to have mutton, the haunch, or the testicles of the goat." Shama returned with the answer that Haji would be happy to receive a small crumb from Baba's pot. Hearing this, Baba got very angry and approached the Haji and said, "Why do you brag, fancy yourself great, and then pose as an old Haji? Is this the way you read the Quran? You are proud of your pilgrimage to Mecca, but you do not know me." Being thus scolded, the Haji was confounded. Baba then went back to Masjid, purchased a few baskets of mango, and sent them to Haji. Then Baba again went to the Haji, took 55 rupees from his pocket, and gave it to the Haji. From the time Baba loved the Haji, invited him for meals, and the Haji thereafter came to the masjid whenever he liked. Baba gave him at times a few rupees, and thus the Haji was enlisted in Baba's darbar, that is, the royal court. Baba's control over the elements. We shall close this chapter after describing two incidents showing Baba's control over the elements. One evening, there was a terrible storm at Shirdi. The sky was overcast with thick black clouds. The winds began to blow fiercely. The clouds roared. Lightning began to flash, and the rain began to descend in torrents. In short time, the whole place was flooded with water. All the birds, beasts, and men got terribly frightened, and they all flocked to the masjid for shelter. There are many local deities in Shirdi, but none of them came to their aid. So they all prayed to Baba, their god, to intercede and quell the storm. Baba was deeply moved. He came out and, standing at the edge of the masjid, addressed the storm in a loud and thunderous voice. Stop, stop, you fury, and be calm. In a few minutes, the rain subsided. The wind ceased to blow, and the storm came to be halt. Then the moon rose in the sky, and the people went back relieved. On another occasion at noon, the fire in the dhuni, the fire Baba kept burning all the day, began to burn brightly, and its seams were seen to be reaching the rafters above. The people who were sitting in the masjid did not know what to do. They dared not ask Baba to pour water or do anything to quench the flames, but Baba soon came to realize what was happening. He took his satka, that is a short stick, and dashed it against a pillar in front of him, saying, "Get down, be calm." With each stroke of the satka, the flames began to burn less fiercely, and in a few minutes, the dhuni became calm and normal. This is a sign and incarnation of God. He will bless any man who prostrates and surrenders before him. He who reads the stories of this chapter daily with faith and devotion will soon be free from all calamities. He will also always be attached and devoted to Sai. He will very soon attain divine vision. All his desires will be fulfilled, and thus, being ultimately desireless, he will attain the supreme abode. End of chapter 11. Om Sai Ram. Om Sai Ram. Sai Satcharitra Chapter 12. Topics: the experiences of Kaka Mahajani, Dhumal the pleader, Mrs. Nimonkar, Mule Shastri, a doctor. Now let us see in this chapter how devotees were received and treated by Baba. A saint's mission. We have seen before that the purpose of divine incarnation is to protect the good and destroy the wicked. But the mission of the saints is quite different. To them, the good and the wicked are the same. First, they feel for the evil doers and set them on the right path. They are like the Agasti to destroy the Bhava Sagar, that is the ocean of worldly existence, or like the sun to the darkness of ignorance. God dwells in the saints. In fact, they are not different from Him. Our Sai is one of them, and He incarnated for the welfare of His devotees. Supreme in knowledge and surrounded by divine luster, He loved all being equally. He was unattached, foes, friends, kings, and paupers were the same to him. Hear about his powers. For the sake of his devotees, he spent his stock of merits and was always allowed to help them. But the devotees could never approach him unless he meant to receive them. If their turn did not come, Baba did not remember them and his leelas could not reach their ears. Then how could they think of seeing him? Some men desired to see Sai Baba, but they did not get any opportunity to receive his darshan before his Mahasamadhi, that is, abandoned his mortal form. There are many such persons whose desire for Baba's darshan was not thus satisfied. If these persons have true faith in him and listen to his leelas, their quest for milk, that is darshan, will be to a great extent satisfied by this buttermilk, Baba's leelas. If someone went there by sheer luck and received Baba's darshan, were they able to stay there longer than he wished? Nobody could stay there longer than Baba wished. They could stay there only as long as Baba permitted them to stay and had to leave and place when asked to do so by Baba. So everything depended on Baba's will. Kaka Mahajani. Once, Kaka Mahajani went to Shirdi from Bombay. He wanted to stay there for a week and enjoy the Gokul Ashtami festival. As soon as he received Baba's darshan, Baba asked him, "When are you going back home?" He was rather surprised at his question, but he had to answer it. He said that he would go home when Baba ordered him to do so. Baba then said, "Go tomorrow." Baba's word was law and had to be obeyed. Kaka Mahajani therefore left Shirdi the next day. When he went to his office in Bombay, he found that his employer was anxiously waiting for him. The manager had suddenly fallen sick, and hence Kaka's presence was absolutely necessary. He had sent a letter to Kaka at Shirdi, which was redirected to him at Bombay. Bau Sahib Dhumal. Once Bau Sahib Dhumal, a pleader, was going to Nipad for a case. On the way, he came to Shirdi, received Baba's darshan, and wanted to proceed to Nipad immediately. But Baba did not permit him to do so. Baba made him stay at Shirdi for more than a week. In the meanwhile, the magistrate at Nipad suffered from intense pain in his abdomen, and thus the case was adjourned. Mr. Dhumal was then allowed to go and attend his case. It went on for a few months and was tried by four magistrates. Ultimately, Mr. Dhumal won the case and his client was acquitted. Mrs. Nimonkar. Mr. Nana Sahib Nimonkar, a Tandar of Nimon and a honorary magistrate, was staying at Shirdi with his wife. Mr. and Mrs. Nimonkar spent most of their time in the masjid with Baba and served him. It so happened that their son fell ill at Belapur, and the mother decided that Baba's consent to go to Belapur and see her son and other relatives and stay there for a few days. But Nana Sahib asked her to return the very next day. The lady was in fix and did not know what to do, but her god Sai came to her assistance. While leaving Shirdi, she went to see Baba, who was standing in front of Sateswada with Mr. Nimonkar and a few others. She prostrated at his feet and asked for his permission to live. Baba said to her, "Go quickly, be calm, stay comfortably at Belapur for 4 days, see all your relatives, and then return to Shirdi." How opportune were Baba's words! Nana Sahib's proposal was overruled by Baba's decree. Mule Shastri of Nasik, an Orthodox Agnihotri Brahmin from Nasik named Mule Shastri, who had studied the six Shastras and was well versed in astrology and palmistry, once came to Shirdi to see Mr. Bapu Sahib Bhuti. That is, he is the famous millionaire from Nagpur. After meeting him, he went with a few others to see Baba in the masjid. Baba bought various fruits and other things from vendors with his own money and distributed them to the persons present in the masjid. Baba used to press a mango on all the sides so skillfully that when any person received it from Baba and sucked it, he got all the pulp at once in his mouth and could throw away the stone and the skin forthwith. Plantains were peeled by Baba and the kernel was distributed to the devotees. While the skins were retained by Baba for himself, Mule Shastri, being a palmist, wanted to read Baba's palm and requested him to extend the same. Baba ignored his request and gave him 4 plantains. Then they all returned to the Vada and Mule Shastri bathed, wore sacred cloths, and started his routine duties. Then Baba, as usual, started for the lendi and said, "Take some geru, a red substance used to dye clothes, saffron. We shall don saffron today." No one understood what Baba meant. After some time, Baba returned and preparations for the noon. Aarti were being made. Bapu Sahib Jog asked Mule Shastri whether he would accompany him for the arti. Shastri replied that he would see Baba in the afternoon. Very soon, Baba sat on a seat and was being worshipped by his devotees, and the arti commenced. Then Baba said, "Get some dakshina from him, from the new Brahmin." Bhuti himself went to get the dakshina, and when he relayed Baba's message to Mule Shastri, Shastri was sorely perplexed. He thought, "I'm a pure Agnihotri Brahmin. Why should I pay dakshina? Baba may be a great saint, but I am on not his dependent." But as a great saint like Sai Baba was asking for dakshina through a millionaire like Booty, he could not refuse. So, leaving his routine unfinished, he left with Booty to the masjid. Thinking himself holy and sacred and the masjid otherwise, he remained at a distance and threw flowers at Baba. Then all of a sudden he saw his late guru Golap Swami there in place of Baba. He was wonderstruck. Could this be a dream? And how could his late guru Golap be there? He was speechless for some time. He pinched himself and looked again, but could not reconcile the fact that his late guru was in the masjid. Ultimately, abandoning all doubt, he went up, fell at the Guru's feet, and then getting up, stood there with folded hands. Other people sang Baba's Aarti while Mule Shastri chanted his Guru's name. Then, casting off all pride of caste and ideas about sacredness, he fell flat at his Guru's feet and closed his eyes. When he got up and opened his eyes, he saw Baba asking for dakshina. Seeing Baba's blissful form and inconceivable power, Mule Shastri forgot himself. He was extremely pleased and his eyes were full of tears of joy. He again bowed before Baba and gave him dakshina. He said that his doubts were removed and that he saw his own Guru. On seeing this wonderful Leela, everyone was quite moved and they realized the meaning of Baba's words. Bring Geru. We shall don saffron today. Such are the wonderful Leelas of Baba. A doctor. Once a Mamlatdar came to Shirdi with a friend who was a doctor. The doctor said that the deity was Rama and that he would not bow before a Muslim, and so he was unwilling to go to Shirdi. The Mamlatdar replied that nobody would press him to bow before Baba, so he should merely come along and provide the pleasures of his company. So they came to Shirdi and went to the masjid to receive Baba's darshan. Everyone was wonderstruck to see the doctor going ahead and bowing before Baba. They asked him now he forgot his resolve and bowed before a Muslim. Then the doctor replied that he saw his beloved deity Rama on the seat and he therefore prostrated himself before Rama. Then, as he was doing this, he saw Sai Baba there again. Rather dismayed, he said, "Is this a dream? How could he be a Muslim? He is a great yoga sampanna, full of yoga avatar." The next day, he took a vow and began to fast. He absented himself from the masjid, resolving not to go there until Baba blessed him. 3 days passed, and on the fourth day, a close friend of his from Khandesh turned up and he accompanied the friend to masjid to receive Baba's darshan. After they both bowed before Baba, Baba asked the doctor whether anybody had come to fetch him. Hearing this vital question, the doctor was moved. The same night he was blessed by Baba and he experienced supreme bliss in his sleep. Then he left for his town where he experienced the same state for a fortnight. Thus his devotion to Sai Baba increased significantly. The moral of all the stories mentioned above, especially that of Mule Shastri, is that we should have firm faith in our Guru and no one else. More Leelas of Sai Baba will be described in the next chapter. End of the chapter. Om Sai Ram. Om Sai Ram, Sai Satcharitra Chapter 13. Topics: more about Sai Leelas, diseases cured, Bhimaji Patil, Bala Shimpi, Bapu Saheb Booty, Alandi Swami, Kaka Mahajan, Datto Pantov, Hartha, the inscrutable power of Maya. Baba's words were always short, pithy, deep, full of meaning, efficient, and well balanced. He was ever content and never cared for anything. He said, though I have become a fakir, have no house or wife, and though living of all cares, I have stayed at one place, the inevitable Maya teases me often. Though I forgot myself, I cannot forget her. She always envelops me. This Maya is the elusive power of the Lord Sri Hari, teases God Brahma and others. Then what to speak of a poor fakir like me? Those who take refuge in the Lord will be freed from her clutches with his grace. In such terms, Baba spoke about the power of Maya. Lord Sri Krishna has said to Uddhava in the Bhagavad that the saints are his living forms. And see what Baba had said for the welfare of his devotees. Those who are fortunate and whose demerits have vanished, take to my worship. If you always say, Sai, Sai, I shall take you over the seven seas, believe in these words, and you will be certainly benefited. I do not need any paraphernalia of worship, either eightfold or sixteenfold. I rest there where there is full of devotion. Now read what Sai, the friend of those who surrendered themselves to him, did for their welfare. Bhimaji Patil, one Bhimaji Patil of Narayanagaon, Taluka Junnar, district Pune, suffered in the year 1909 AD from a severe and chronic chest disease which ultimately developed into tuberculosis. He tried all sorts of pathos, that is, the remedies, but to no effect. Losing all hopes, he ultimately prayed to God, O Lord Narayana, help me now. It is a well known fact that when our circumstances are well off, we do not remember God. But when calamities and adversities overtake us, we are reminded of Him. So Bhimaji now turned to God. It occurred to him that he should consult Mr. Nana Sahib Chandorkar, a great devotee of Baba, in this respect. So he wrote him a letter giving all details of his malady and asking for this opinion. In reply, Mr. Nana Sahib wrote to him that there was only one remedy left, and that was to have recourse to Baba's feet. Relying on Mr. Nana Sahib's advice, he made preparation for going to Shirdi. He was brought to Shirdi and taken to the masjid and placed before Baba. Mr. Nana Sahib and Shama, that is Madhavrao Deshpande, were then present. Baba pointed out that the disease was due to the previous evil karma and was not at first disposed to interfere. But the patient cried out in despair that he was helpless and sought refuge in him. As he was his last hope and prayed for mercy, then Baba's heart melted and he said, Stay cast off your anxiety. Your sufferings have come to an end. However, oppressed and troubled one may be, as soon as he steps into the masjid, he is on the pathway to happiness. The fakir here is very kind. He will cure the disease and protect all the love and kindness. The patient vomited blood every 5 minutes. But there was no vomiting in the presence of Baba. From the time Baba uttered the words of hope and mercy, the malady took a favorable turn. Baba asked him to stay in Bhima Bhai's house, which was not a convenient and healthy place, but Baba's order had to be obeyed. While he was staying there, Baba cured him by two dreams. The first dream, he saw himself as a boy suffering the severe pain of a flogging, which he received for not reciting his Swami poetry lesson before his class master. In the second dream, someone caused him intense pain and torture by rolling a stone and down over his chest. With the pain thus suffered in dream, his cure was complete and he went home. He then often came to Shirdi, gratefully remembering what Baba did for him and prostrated before him. Baba also did not expect anything from devotees, but grateful remembrance, unchanging faith, and devotion. People in the Maharashtra always celebrate Satyanarayan Puja in their homes every fortnight or month. But it was this Bhimaji Patil who started a new Sai Satya Vrata Puja instead of Satyanarayana Vrata Puja in his house when he returned to his village. Bala Ganpat Shimpi, another devotee of Baba by name Bala Ganapat Shimpi, suffered much from a malignant type of malaria. He tried all sorts of medicines and but it all went in vain. The fever did not abate a jot, and so he ran to Shirdi and fell on Baba's feet. Baba gave him a straight recipe in this case as follows: give a black dog some morsels of rice mixed with curds in front of the Lakshmi temple. Bala Shimpi did not know how to execute this recipe, but no sooner he went home than he found rice and curds. After mixing them together, he brought the mixture near the Lakshmi temple when he found the black dog waving its tail. He placed the curds and rice before the dog. The dog ate it, and strange to say, Bala got rid of his malaria. Bapu Saheb Booty. Shriman Bapu Saheb Booty suffered once from dysentery and vomiting. His cupboard was full of patent drugs and medicines, but none of them had any effect. Bapu Saheb got very weak on account of puddings and vomitings and therefore was not able to go to the masjid for Baba's darshana. Baba then sent for him and made him sit before him and said, now take care, you should not purge any more. And waving his index finger, the vomiting must also stop. Now look at the force of Baba's words. Both the maladis took off their heels, disappeared, and Booty felt well. On another occasion, he had an attack of cholera and suffered from severe thirst. Dr. Pillai tried all sorts of remedies but could give him no relief. Then he went to Baba and consulted him as what to drink, what would allay his thirst and cure the disease. Baba prescribed an infusion of almonds, walnuts, pistachio, boiled in sugar milk. This would be considered as a fatal aggravation of his disease by any other doctor or physician, but in implicit obedience to Baba's order, the infusion was administered, and strange to say, the disease was cured. Alandi Swami. A Swami from Alandi wishing to take Baba's darshana came to Shirdi. He suffered from a severe pain in his ear, which prevented him from getting the sleep. He was operated for this, but it served no purpose. The pain was severe, and he did not know what to do. While he was returning, he came to take Baba's leave when Shama, that is Madhavrao Deshpande, requested Baba to do something for the pain in the Swami's ear. Baba confronted him saying, Allah acha karega. God will do good. The Swami then returned to Pune and after a week sent a letter to Shirdi stating that the pain in his ears had subsided, though the swelling was there, and in order to get the swelling removed, he went to Baba for operation. But the surgeon, on examining the ear, said that no operation was necessary. Such was the wonderful effect of Baba's words. Kaka Mahajani, another devotee named Kaka Mahajani, suffered once from diarrhea. In order that there should be no break in his service to Baba, Kaka kept a tambia, that is a pot with water in some corner of the masjid, and whenever there was a call, he would go out. As Sai Baba knew everything, Kaka did not inform him of his disease, thinking that Baba would of his own cure it soon. The work of constructing the pavement in front of the masjid was permitted by Baba, but when the actual work was begun, Baba got wild and shouted out loudly. Everybody ran away, and as Kaka was also doing the same, Baba caught hold of him and made him sit there. In the confusion that followed, somebody left that small bag of groundnuts. Baba took a handful of groundnuts, rubbed them in his hands, blew away the skin, and gave the clean nuts to Kaka, made him eat them. Scolding and cleaning the nuts and making Kaka eat them went on simultaneously. Baba himself ate some of them. Then, when the bag was finished, Baba asked him to fetch water as he felt thirsty. Kaka brought a pitcher full of water. Then Baba drank some water and made Kaka also drink. Baba then said, now your diarrhea has stopped and you may attend the work of the payment. In the meanwhile, other persons who had run away returned and started to work, and Kaka, whose motions had stopped, also joined them. Are groundnuts medicines for diarrhea? According to current medical opinion, groundnuts would aggravate the disease and not cure it. The true medicine is this, as in other cases, was Baba's word. Dattopant of Harda, a gentleman from Harda by name Dattopant, suffered from stomachache for 14 years. None of the remedies gave him any relief. Then, hearing of Baba's fame that he cures diseases by sight, he ran to Shirdi and fell at Baba's feet. Baba looked at him kindly and gave him blessings. When Baba placed his hand on his head, when he got Baba's udi with blessings, he felt relieved and there was no further trouble about the malady. Towards the end of this chapter, three cases are cited in four notes. One is Madhavrao Deshpande suffered from piles. Baba gave him decoction of Sonamukhi, that's the senna pots. This relieved him. Then, after 2 years of the trouble again recurred, and Madhavrao took the same decoction without consulting Baba. The result was that the diseases aggravated, but later on it was cured by Baba's grace. Second one, Kaka Mahajani's elder brother Gangadhar Pant suffered for many years from stomachache. Hearing Baba's fame, he came to Shirdi and requested Baba to cure him. Baba touched his belly and said, God will cure. From that time, there was no stomach pain and he was completely cured. Third one is Nana Sahib Chandorkar also once suffered from intense stomach pain. He was restless the whole day and night. Doctors administered syringes which produced no effect. Then he approached Baba, who told him to eat barfi, a kind of a sweet mixed with ghee. This recipe gave him complete relief. All the stories go to show that the real medicines that cured the various diseases permanently was Baba's word and grace and not any medicines or drugs. Om Sai Ram. End of chapter 13.
Om Sai Ram. Sai Satcharitra Chapter 14. Topics Ratonji Vadia from Nanded, Dakshina Mimansa. In the last chapter, we described how Baba's words and grace cured many incurable diseases. Now, we shall describe how Baba blessed Mr. Ratonji Vadia with a child. The life of the saint is naturally sweet inside and outside. His various actions and his natural sayings are also sweet. His life is bliss incarnate. Sai told us devotees' stories as a means for them to remember him. He gave them various stories of duty and action, which ultimately led them to true religion. His object may be to help people live happily in this world, but also to ensure that they are always cautious and gain the object of their life, self realization. We get a human body as a result of merits in our past births, and it is worthwhile, with its aid, to attain devotion and liberation in this life. So, we should never be lazy, but should always be on the alert to gain our end and aim of life. If you hear daily the Leela stories of Saib, you will always see him. You will remember him all day and all night. When you assimilate Sai in this way, your mind will lose its fickleness, and if you go on in this manner, your mind will finally be merged in pure consciousness. Ratonji from Nanded. Now let us come to the main story of this chapter. In Nanded, in the Nizam state, there lived a mill contractor and trader named Ratonji Shapurji Wadia. He was amassed a large amount of money and had acquired fields and land. He had cattle, horses, and conveyances and was very prosperous. To all outward appearances, he looked very happy and content, but inwardly he was not so. Providential dispensation in such that no one in the world is completely happy and rich, and Ratonji was no exception to this. He was liberal and charitable, gave food and clothing to poor, and helped everyone in various ways. People took him to be a good and happy man, but Ratonji was miserable and he had no children. Just as Kirtan, without devotion, music, without rhythmical accompaniments, proficiency in the arts without common sense, and a pilgrimage without repentance are incomplete, so is the house of a man without a child. Ratonji always brooded over the issue and thought, will God ever grant me a son? He thus looked morose and did not relish his food. Day and night he was enveloped with anxiety about whether he would ever be blessed with a son. He had a great regard for Dasagunu Maharaj. He saw him and told him about all his issues. Dasagunu advised him to go to Shirdi, receive Baba's darshan, fall at his feet and seek his blessings. Ratonji liked the idea and decided to go to Shirdi. After a few days, he went to Shirdi, received Baba's darshana, and fell at his feet. Then, opening a basket, he took out a beautiful garland of flowers and placed it around Baba's neck and offered him a basket of fruits. With great respect, he then sat near Baba and prayed to him, saying, many persons who find themselves in difficult situations come to you and you relieve them immediately. Hearing this, I have anxiously sought to your feet. Please do not disappoint me. Sai Baba then asked him for dakshina of 5 rupees, which Ratonji intended to give, but added that he had already received 3 rupees and 14 paisa from him and that Ratonji should only pay the balance. Hearing this, Ratanji was rather puzzled. This was the first time he had seen or he had been to Shirdi. So how had Baba previously received 3 rupees and 14 paise from him? He could not solve the riddle, but he sat at Baba's feet and gave Baba the balance of the dakshina asked for. He explained to Baba why he had come to seek his help and prayed that Baba bless him with a son. Baba was moved, told him not to be worried, and that his bad days had ended. He then gave him odia, placed his hand on his head, and blessed him, saying that Allah, the God, would satisfy his heart's desires. Then, after taking Baba's leave, Ratonji returned to Nanded and told Dasagunu everything that took place at Shirdi. He said that everything went well there and that he had received Baba's darshan and blessings. But there was one thing which he could not understand. Baba said that he had received 3 rupees and 14 paise from him before. He said to Dasagunu, this was my first trip to Shirdi. Then how could I have given him that sum of money? Dasagunu was also puzzled and he pondered over it for a long time. Sometime afterwards, it struck Dasagunu that Ratonji had received a few days prior to the Shirdi trip a Muslim saint named Mauli Sahib and had spent some money for his reception. Mauli Sahib was a saint well known to be people of Nanded. Before Ratonji decided to go to Shirdi, Mauli Sahib happened to visit Ratonji. Ratonji knew him and loved him, so he gave a small party in his honor. Dasagunu got from Ratonji the memo of expenses of this reception, and everybody was wonderstruck to see that the expenses amount to exactly 3 rupees 14 paisa, nothing more, nothing less. They all came to know the Baba was omniscient and that though he lived in Shirdi, he knew what happened everywhere. In fact, he knew the past, present, and future and could identify himself heart and soul with anybody. Ratonji was satisfied with this explanation, and his faith in Baba was confirmed and increased. In due course, he was blessed with a son, and his joy knew no bounds. It is said that he had 12 children in total, out of which only 4 survived. Dakshina Mimansa. Now we shall close this chapter with a few remarks about Dakshina. It is a well known fact that Baba always asked for Dakshina from people who went to see him. Somebody may ask a question: if Baba was a fakir and perfectly detached from worldly possession, why should he ask for dakshina and care for money? We shall consider this question broadly. For a long time, Baba did not accept anything. He stored, burnt matchsticks, and filled his pockets with them. He never asked for anything from anybody, whether they were devotees or otherwise. If anybody offered him a paisa or a two, he purchased oil or tobacco. He was fond of tobacco, for he always smoked a beedi or a chilmi, an earthen pipe. Then people thought that they could not see saints empty handed, and they therefore placed a few coins before Baba. If a paisa was placed before him, he used to pocket it, and if it was a 2 paisa coin, it was returned immediately. Then, after Baba's fame had spread far and wide, people began to folk in numbers, and Baba began to ask for dakshina from them. It is said in the Shruti, that is Veda, that the worship of God is not complete unless a gold coin was offered. If a coin was necessary when worshipping God, why should it not be so when worshipping a saint? Ultimately, the Shastras said that when one goes to see God, a king, a saint, or a guru, he should not go empty handed. He should offer something. In this connection, we may notice the precepts recommended by the Upanishads. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says that the Lord Prajapati advised the gods, men, and demons with one letter the. The gods understood by this letter that they should practice Dhamma, that is self control, while humans understood that they should practice Dana, that is charity, and the demons understood that they should practice Daya, compassion. The teacher in the Taittiriya Upanishad exhorts his pupils to practice charity and other virtues. Regarding charity, he says, give with faith, give with magnanimity, give the modesty, with awe and with sympathy. In order to teach the devotees the lesson of charity and to remove their attachment to money and thus purify their minds, Baba asked for dakshina from them. But there was this peculiarity. Baba said that he had to give back to the devotee 100 times or more of what he had received. There are many instances in which this has happened. To quote an instance, Mr. Ganpatrao Bodas, the famous actor, says in his Marathi autobiography that when Baba pressed him frequently for dakshina, he emptied his money bag before him. The result of this was, as Mr. Bodas says, that later in his life he never lacked money as it came to him abundantly. There were also secondary meanings of dakshina. In many cases, Baba did not want any money. To quote two instances, Baba asked for 15 rupees at Dakshina from Professor G. Narke, who replied that he did not have even a single paisa on him. Then Baba said, I know you have money, but you are reading the Yoga Vashishta. Give me Dakshina from that. Giving Dakshina in this case meant deriving lessons from the book and lodging them in his art. When Baba recites, in another case, Baba asked a certain lady, Mrs. R.A. Tharkar, to give him 6 rupees as dakshina. The lady felt embarrassed as she had nothing to give. Then her husband explained to her that Baba wanted her to surrender the 6 inner enemies, lust, anger, etc., to him. Baba agreed with this explanation. It is to be noted that though Baba collected a lot of money as dakshina, he would distribute the whole amount the same day, and the next morning he would become a poor fakir again when Baba took his Mahasamadhi. After receiving thousands and thousands of rupees as dakshina for about 10 years, he only had a few rupees in his possession. In short, Baba's main object in taking dakshina from his devotees was to teach them the lessons of renunciation and purification. Postscript: Mr. B. Video of Thana, retired Mamaldar and a great devotee of Baba, has written an article on the subject Dakshina in the Sri Sai Leela magazine. In this, he says, among other things, the following: Baba did not ask for dakshina from everyone. If someone gave dakshina without being asked, he sometimes accepted it, at other times he refused it. He only asked for it from certain devotees. He never demanded it from those devotees who thought they would offer dakshina only if Baba asked. If anybody offered it against his wishes, he never touched it, and if they still left it there, Baba asked them to take it away. He asked for small or big amounts from devotees according to their wishes, devotions, and convenience. He asked for it even from women and children. He never asked all the rich or all the poor. Baba never got angry with those whom he asked for dakshina and did not give it. If a devotee sent dakshina through a friend who forgot to hand over the same to Baba, he somehow reminded him of it and made him pay for it. On some occasions, Baba used to return a certain sum from the amount tendered as dakshina and ask the donor to guard it or keep it in his shrine for worship. This procedure benefited the donor immensely. If anybody offered more than he originally intended to give, Baba returned the extra. Sometimes he asked for more dakshina from some than what they originally intended to give, and if they had no money, asked them to get or borrow it from others. From some, he demanded dakshina 3 or 4 times a day. Out of the amount collected as dakshina, Baba spent very little for his own sake, to buy tobacco for his chilm and fuel for his duni. The rest he distributed as charity in varying proportions to various persons. All the paraphernalia of the Shirdi Sansthan was brought by various rich devotees at the instance and suggestions of Radha Krishna Mai. Baba always used to get angry and scolded those who bought him expensive articles. He said to Mr. Nana Sahib that his property consisted of one coppin, that is the cod piece, and one stray piece of cloth, a kafni, and a tin pot, and that people troubled him by bringing all these unnecessary, useless, and costly articles. Lust and wealth are the two main obstacles in the way of our Paramartha, that is a spiritual life, and Baba provided in Shirdi two institutions, Dakshina and Radha Krishna Mai. Whenever they came to him, he demanded Dakshina from them and asked them to go to the school. If they stood these two tests well, and if they showed that they were free from attachment for women and wealth, their progress in spirituality was rapid and assured by Baba's grace and blessings. Mr. Dio has also quoted passages from the Gita and Upanishads and shown that charity given in a holy place unto a holy personage benefits the donor's welfare to a great degree. What is more holy than Shirdi and its presiding deity, Sai Baba? End of the chapter 14. Om Sai Ram. Om Sai Ram. Sai Satcharitra Chapter 15. Topics: Naradiya Kirtan Paddhati, Mr. Cholkar's sugarless tea, and the story of the two lizards. The readers may remember that the Ram Navami festival in Shirdi was mentioned in chapter 6. In that chapter, the festival's origins, the great difficulty in finding a good Haridas to perform the Kirtan in the early years, and how Baba permanently entrusted the function Kirtan to Dasganu were mentioned. In this chapter, we shall describe the manner in which Dasganu performed the Kirtan. Naradiya Kirtan Paddhati. Traditionally, a Haridas while performing the Kirtan wears a gala and full dress. They wear a headdress, either peta or a turban, a long flowing coat with a shirt inside, an uparan, short dhotar on the shoulders, and the usual long dhotar from below the waist. Dressed in this fashion, for some kirtan in the Shirdi village, Dasganu once went and bowed before Baba. Baba asked him, Well, bridegroom, where are you going dressed so handsomely? To perform a kirtan, came the reply. Then Baba said, why do you want all this coat, uparani, and petha? Do away with all that before me. Why wear them on the body? Dasganu immediately took them off and placed them at Baba's feet. From that time on, Dasganu never wore these things while performing the kirtan. He was always bare from the waist upwards. A pair of chiplis were in his hands and a garland hung around the neck. This is not in coincidence with the practice generally followed by the Haridas, but this is the best and the purest method. The sage Narada, from whom the Kirtana Paddhati originated, wore nothing on his trunk and head. He carried a veena in his hand and wandered from place to place singing the glory of the Lord. Mr. Cholkar's sugarless tea. Initially, Baba was only known in the Pune and Ahmednagar districts, but Nana Sahib Chandorkar, by his personal talks, and Das Ganu, through his splendid kirtanas, spread Baba's fame in the Bombay Presidency. In fact, it was Das Ganu, may God bless him, who through his beautiful and imitable kirtanas made Baba available to so many people there. The audience who came to hear the kirtans had different tastes. Some liked the erudition of the person performing the kirtan, his gesture, his singing, wit, and humor, while some liked his preliminary dissertation on the Vedanta and others his main stories. But among them, there were very few who, upon hearing the kirtan, get faith, devotion, love for God, or for saints. The effects of Das Gunu's kirtan on the minds of the audience was electric. We give an instance here. Das Ganu was once performing his kirtan and singing the glory of Sai Baba in Kopineshwar temple in Thana. Mr. Cholkar, a poor man serving a candidate in the civil courts in Thana, was in the audience. He heard Das Ganu's kirtan very attentively and was quite moved. He immediately mentally bowed to Baba and took a vow saying, Baba, I am a poor man, unable to support my family. If by your grace I pass the departmental examination and get a permanent post, I shall go to Shirdi, fall at your feet, and distribute sugar candy in your name. Through divine intervention, Mr. Cholkar did pass the examination and did get the permanent post, and now it remained for him to fulfill his oath. The sooner, the better. Mr. Cholkar was a poor man with a large family to support, and he could not easily afford to pay for the expenses of a Shirdi trip. As is well said, one can easily cross over Nahe Ghat in the Thane district or even the Sahyadri range, but it is very difficult for a poor man to cross the threshold of his own house. As Mr. Cholkar was anxious to fulfill his oath as early as possible, he resolved to cut down on his expenses and save money. He was determined not to use the sugar in his diet and began to have his tea without it. After he was able to save some money in this way, he came to Shirdi and received Baba's darshan. Cholka fell at Baba's feet, offered a coconut, and distributed it with a clean conscience along with sugar candy. As per his oath, he said to Baba that he was very pleased with the darshan he received and that his desires had been fulfilled. Mr. Cholkar was in masjid with his host. Bapu Sahib joked when the host and the guest both got up and were about to leave the masjid. Baba spoke to Jog as follows: give him cups of tea fully saturated with sugar. Hearing the significant words, Mr. Cholkar was deeply moved. He was wonder-struck. His eyes welled up with tears and fell at Baba's feet again. Mr. Jog was also curious about the instructions regarding the cups of tea to be given to his guest. Baba wanted so his words to create faith and devotion in Cholkar's mind. He hinted that he got the sugar candy as per Cholkar's oath and that he knew about a secret determination not to use sugar in his diet. Baba went to say, if you spread your palms with devotion before me, I am immediately with you. day and night. Though my body is in Shirdi, I know what you do beyond the seven seas. Go wherever you want. I am with you. My abode is in your heart, and I am within you. Always worship me, who is seated in your heart, as well as in the hearts of all beings. Blessed and fortunate indeed is he who knows me thus. What a beautiful and important lesson was thus imparted by Baba to Mr. Cholkar. The story of two lizards. Now we close this chapter with the story of two lizards, that is, two little lizards. Once Baba was sitting in the masjid, a devotee sat in front of him and a lizard made a ticking sound. Out of curiosity, the devotee asked Baba whether the ticking sound signified anything. Was it a good sign or a bad omen? Baba said that the lizard was overjoyed as his sister from Aurangabad was coming to see her. The devotee did not ask any further questions as he could not understand the meaning of Baba's words. Almost immediately, a gentleman from Aurangabad came on horseback to see Baba. He wanted to proceed, but his horse would not go anywhere as it was hungry and wanted grams. He took a bag of grams and dashed it on the ground to remove dirt. A lizard came out of the bag and in front of everyone climbed up the wall. Baba asked the devotee who had asked this question to watch her carefully. She at once ran up to her sister. Both sisters met each other. After a long time, kissed and embraced each other and whirled round and danced with love. How far apart are Shirdi and Aurangabad? How did the man on horseback come there from Aurangabad with the lizard? And how did Baba predict the meetings of the two sisters? All this is really very wonderful and proves Baba's omniscience. Postscript: He who respectively reads the chapter and studies it daily will get all his miseries removed by the grace of Sadguru Sai Baba. Hence, Bo to Sri Sai, Om Sai Ram. End of the chapter.
Sri Sai Satcharitra Chapter 16 and 17. These two chapters relate the story of a rich gentleman who wanted Brahma Gnana quickly from Sai Baba. Preliminary. The last chapter described how Mr. Cholkar's O of small offering was completed and accepted. In that story, Sai Baba showed that he would accept with appreciation any small thing offered with love and devotion. But if the same thing was offered with pride and haughtiness, he would reject it. Being himself full of Sat, Chit, Anand, that is existence, knowledge, and bliss, he did not care much for more outward formalities. But if an offering was made in meek and humble spirit, the same was welcome and he accepted it with pleasure and avidity. In fact, there is no person more liberal and benevolent than a Sadguru like Sai Baba. He cannot be compared to the Chintamani jewel, the philosopher's stone which satisfies desires, the Kalpataru, the celestial tree which fulfills our desires, or the Kamadhenu, the celestial cow which yields what we desire. For they give us only what we desire, but the Sadguru gives us the most precious thing, that is inconceivable and inscriptable, the reality. Now let us hear how Sai Baba disposed of a rich man who came to him and implored him to give him Brahma Gnana. This was a rich gentleman, unfortunately his name and whereabouts are not mentioned, who was very prosperous in his life. He had amassed a large quantity of wealth, houses, fields, and lands, and had many servants and dependents. When Baba's fame reached his ears, he said to a friend of his that he was not in want of anything, and so he would go to Shirdi and ask Baba to give him Brahma Gnana, which, if he got, would certainly make him more happy. His friend dissuaded him, saying, "It is not easy to know Brahman, and especially so for an avaricious man like you, who is always engrossed in wealth, wife, and children, who will, in your quest of Brahma Gnana, satisfy you that won't give away even a pice in charity. Not minding his friend's advice, the fellow engaged a written journey tanga and came to Shirdi. He went to the masjid, saw Sai Baba, fell at his feet and said, Baba, hearing that you show the Brahman to all who come over here without any delay. I have come here all the way from any my distant place. I am much fatigued by the journey, and if I get the Brahman from you, my troubles will be well paid and rewarded. Baba then replied, Oh, my dear friend, do not be anxious. I shall immediately show you the Brahman. All my dealings are in cash and never on credit. So many people come to me and ask for wealth, health, power, honor, position, cure of diseases, and other temporal matters. Rare is the person who comes to me and asks for the Brahmagnana. There is no dearth of persons asking for worldly things, but as persons interested in spiritual matters are very rare. I think it a lucky and auspicious moment when persons like you come and press me for Brahmagnana. So I show to you with pleasure the Brahman with all its accompaniments and complications. Saying this, Baba started to show him the Brahman. He made him sit there and engaged him some other talk or affair, and thus made him forget his question for the time being. Then he called a boy and told him to go to one Nandu Marwari and get from him a hand loan of rupees 5. The boy left and returned immediately, saying that Nandu was absent and his house was locked. Then Baba asked him to go to the Bala grocer and get from him the said loan. This time also the boy was unsuccessful. This experiment was repeated again, twice or thrice, with the same result. Sai Baba was, as we know, the living and moving Brahman incarnate. Then someone may ask, why did he want the paltry sum of 5 rupees and why did he try hard to get it on loan? Really, he did not want that sum of all. He must have been fully knowing that Nandu and Bala were absent, and he seems to have adopted this procedure as a test for the seeker of Brahman. That gentleman had a roll of bundle of currency notes in his pocket, and if he was really earnest, he would not have sat quiet and be a mere onlooker when Baba was frantically trying to get a paltry sum of rupees 5. He knew that Baba would keep his word and repay the debt, and that the sum wanted was insignificant. Still, he could not make up his mind and advance the sum. Such a man wanted from Baba the greatest thing in the world, that's the Brahma Gnana. Any other man who really loved Baba would have at once given rupees 5 instead of being a more onlooker. It was otherwise with this man. He advanced no money, nor did he sit silent, but began to be impatient, as he was in a haste to return and implored Baba, saying, Oh Baba, please show me the Brahman soon. Baba replied, Oh, my dear friend, did you not understand all the procedure that I went through sitting in this place for enabling you to see the Brahman? It is in short this: for seeing Brahman, one has to give 5 things, that is, surrender 5 things. First one, 5 pranas, that is, vital forces. Second one, 5 senses, 5 of action and 5 of perception. Third is mind. Fourth one is intellect. And fifth one is the ego. This path of Brahmagnana of self realization is as hard as to tread on the edge of a razor. Sai Baba then gave rather a long discourse on the subject, the purport of which is given below. Qualifications of Brahmagnana or self realization. All persons do not see or realize the Brahman in their lifetime. Certain qualifications are absolutely necessary. First one, mumuksha or intense desire to get free. He who thinks that he is bound and that he should get free from bondage and works earnestly and resolutely to that end, and who does not care for any other links, is qualified for the spiritual life. Second one, virakti or a feeling of disgust with the things of this world and the next, unless a man feels disgusted with the things, emoluments, and honors which his action would bring in this world and the next. He has no right to enter into the spiritual realm. Third one, antarmukhata, introversion. Our senses have been created by God with a tendency to move outward, and so man always looks outside himself and not inside. He who wants self realization and immortal life must turn his gaze inwards and look to his inner self. Fourth one, catharsis from purging away of sins. Unless a man has turned away from wickedness and stopped from doing wrong and has entirely composed himself, and unless his mind is at rest, he cannot gain self realization even by means of knowledge. Fifth one, right conduct. Unless a man leads a life of truth, penance, and insight, a life of celibacy, he cannot get God's realization. Sixth one, preferring Shreyas, the good, to Preyas, the pleasant. These are two sorts of things, that is, the God and the pleasant. The former deals with the spiritual affairs, and the latter with the mundane matters. Both is approach man for acceptance. He has to think and choose one of them. The wise man prefers the good to the pleasant, but the unwise, through greed and attachment, chooses the pleasant. Seventh one, control of the mind and the senses. The body is the chariot and self is this master. Intellect is the charioteer and the mind is the reins. The senses are the horses and sense objects by parts. He who has no understanding and whose mind is unrestrained, his senses unmanageable like the vicious horses of a charioteer, does not reach his destination, but goes through the round of births and deaths. But he who has understanding and whose mind is restrained, his senses being under control like the good horse of a charioteer, reaches that place, that is, the said state of self realization. When he is not born again, the man who has understanding as his charioteer, that is, the guide, is able to rein his mind. Peach is the end of the journey, which is the supreme abode of all pervading Vishnu, the Lord. Eighth one, purification of the mind. Unless a man discharges satisfactorily and disinterestedly the duties of his station in life, his mind will not be purified, and unless his mind is purified, he cannot get self realization. It is only in the purified mind that viveka, which is called the discrimination between the unreal and the real, and vairagya, a non attachment to the unreal, crop up and lead on the self realization. Unless egoism is dropped, avera is got rid of, and the mind made desireless, that is, the mind becomes pure, self realization is not possible. The idea that I am the body is a great delusion, and attachment to the idea is the cause of bondage. Live off this idea and attachment, therefore, if you want to get the self realization. Ninth one, the necessity of a guru. The knowledge of the self is too subtle and mystic that no one could, by his own individual effort, ever hope to attain it. So, the help of another person, that's a teacher who has himself got self realization, is absolutely necessary. What others cannot give with great labor and pains can be easily gained with the help of such a teacher, for he has walked on the path himself and can easily take the disciple step by step on the ladder of the spiritual progress. Tenth one, that's the last one, the Lord's grace is the most essential thing. When the Lord is pleased with anybody, he gives him viveka and vairagya and takes him safe beyond the ocean of mundane existence. The self cannot be gained by the study of Vedas, nor by intellectual, nor by much leaning. He whom the self chooses, by him it is gained. To him the self reveals its nature, says the Katha Upanishad. After the discussion was over, Baba turned to the gentleman and said, "Well, sir, there is in your pocket the Brahma or Mamun is the form of 50 times 5, that is rupees 250 rupees, Please take that out. The gentleman took out from his pocket the bundle of currency notes, and to his great surprise, found on counting them that there were 25 notes of 10 rupees each. Seeing the omniscience of Baba, he as moved and fell at Baba's feet and craved for his blessings. Then Baba said to him, "Roll up your bundle of Brahma, that is the currency notes. Unless you get rid of completely of your avarice of greed, you will not get the real Brahma. How can be whose mind is engrossed in wealth, progeny, and prosperity, except to know the Brahma without moving away his attachment for the same? The illusion of attachment or the love for money in the deep eddy is the whirlpool of pain, full of crocodiles in the form of conceit and jealousy. He who is desireless can alone cross this whirlpool. Greed and Brahma are as poles asunder. They are eternally opposed to each other. Where there is greed, there is no room for thought or meditation of the Brahma. Then how can a greedy man get passion and salvation? For a greedy man there is no peace, neither contentment nor certainty. If there be even a little trace of greed in mind, all the sadhanas, that is, the spiritual endeavors, are of no avail. Even the knowledge of a well read man who is not free from the desire of the fruit or reward of his actions, and who has got no disgust for the same, is useless and cannot help him in getting self realization. The teachings of a guru are of no use to man who is full of egoism and who always thinks about the sense objects. Purification of mind is absolutely necessary. Without it, all our spiritual endeavors are nothing but an useless show and pomp. It is therefore better for one to take only what he can digest and assimilate. My treasury is full and I can give anyone what he wants, but I have to see whether he is qualified to receive what I give. If you listen to me carefully, you will be certainly benefited. Sitting in this masjid, I never speak any untruth. When a guest is invited to a house, all the members of the household and other friends and relations that happen to be present are entertained along with the guest. So, all those that were present in the masjid at this time could partake of the spiritual feast that was served by Baba for the rich gentleman. After getting Baba's blessings, one and all, including the gentleman, left the place quite happy and content. Special characteristics of Baba. There are many saints who, leaving their houses, stay in forests, caves, or hermitages and remaining in solitude, try to get liberation or salvation for themselves. They do not care for the people and are always self absorbed. Sai Baba was not of such a type. He had no home, no wife, nor any relations near or distant. Still, he lived in the world, that is, a society. He begged his bread from 4 or 5 houses, always lived at the foot of the neem tree, carried on worldly dealings, and taught all the people how to act and behave in this world. Rare are the sadhus and saints who, after attaining God vision, strive for the welfare of the people. Sai Baba was the foremost of these ends. Therefore, say Hemad Pant, blessed is the country, blessed is the family, and blessed are the chaste parents where this extraordinary, transcendent, precious and pure jewel, that is Sai Baba, was born. End of chapter 16 and 17. Om Sai Ram. Om Sai Ram. Sai Satcharitra Chapter 18 and 19. Topics: the stories of Mr. Sate and Mrs. Deshmukh, encouraging good thoughts to fruition, variety in Upadesh, a slanderer is corrected, and remuneration for labor. In the last 2 chapters, Hemad Pant described how a rich gentleman aspiring for quick Brahma Jnana was treated by Baba. And now in these 2 chapters, he described how Hemad Pant was accepted and blessed by Baba, how Baba encouraged good thoughts and fructified them, and gives his teachings regarding self-improvement, slander, and remuneration for labor. Preliminary. It is a well known fact that the Sadguru looks first at the qualification of his disciples and then gives him suitable instructions without unsettling their minds in the least. And he leads them on towards the goal of self realization. In this respect, some say that what the Sadguru teaches or instructs should not be divulged to others. They believe that these instructions become useless if they are published. This view is not correct. The Sadguru is like a monsoon cloud. He pours down profusely his nectar like teachings. These we should enjoy and assimilate to our heart's content and then serve others with them without any reserve. We should apply this rule not only to what he teaches us when we are awake, but to the visions he gives us in our dreams. To quote an instance, Buddha Kaushik Rishi composed his celebrated Ram Raksha Stotra based on what he had seen in his dreams. Like a loving mother forcing bitter but wholesome medicine down the throat of her children for the sake of their health, Sai Baba imparted spiritual instruction to his devotees. His method was not veiled or secret but quite open. Devotees who followed his instructions attained their objective. Sadgurus like Sai Baba broaden our intellect and show us the divine beauty of the life and fulfill our tender longings of devotion. When this is done, our desire for sense objects vanishes, the twin fruit of viveka, discrimination, and vairagya, dispassion or non attachment, are attained, and knowledge sprouts up even in our sleep. We get all this when we come in contact with saints, that are Sadgurus, serve them and secure their love. The Lord who fulfills the desire of his devotees come to our aid, gets rid of our troubles and sufferings and makes us happy. This progress or development is entirely due to the help of the Sadguru, who is regarded as the Lord himself. Therefore, we should always be eager to meet the Sadguru, hear his stories, fall at his feet and serve him. Now we come to our main story. How Hemad Pant was accepted and blessed. Mr. Sate's story. There was a gentleman named Mr. Sate who had attained some publicity many years ago during the Crawford regime. Lord Rea, the governor of Bombay at the time, quashed Mr. Sate's popularity, and Mr. Sate suffered severe losses in his trade. Other adverse circumstances also gave him a lot of trouble and made him sad and dejected. Restless, he thought of leaving home and going to a distant place. Man does not generally think of God, but when difficulties and calamities overtake him, he turns to God and prays for relief. If his evil actions have come to an end, God arranges his meeting with a saint, who gives improper directions regarding his welfare. Mr. Sate had a similar experience. His friends advised him to go to Shirdi, where so many people were flocking to receive Sai Baba's darshan, which helped them attain peace of mind and the satisfaction of their wants. He liked the idea and at once came to Shirdi in 1917. Upon seeing Baba's form, which was like eternal Brahma, self luminous, spotless, and pure, his mind lost its restlessness and became calm and composed. He thought that it was the accumulation of merits in his former births that had brought him to Baba's holy feet. He was a man of strong will. He at once began to study the Guru Charitra. When the reading was finished in 7 days, Baba gave him a vision one night. It was to this effect. Baba, with the Guru Charitra in his hand, was explaining its contents to Mr. Sate, who was sitting in front of Baba and listening carefully. When he woke up, he remembered the dream and felt very happy. He thought that it was extremely kind of Baba to awaken souls like his that were snoring away in ignorance and make them taste the nectar of the Guru Charitra. The next day, he informed Kaka Sahib Dikshit of the vision and requested him to consult Sai Baba regarding its meaning or significance, and whether 1 week's reading was sufficient or whether he should begin again. Kaka Sahib Dikshit, when he got a suitable opportunity, asked Baba, Deva, What did you suggest to Mr. Satya by this vision? Should he stop or continue the Saptaha? He is a simple devotee, his desire should be fulfilled, and the vision explained to him he should be blessed. Then Baba replied, he should read one more Saptaha of the book. If the work is studied carefully, the devotee will become pure and will be benefited. The Lord will be pleased and will rescue him from the bondage of mundane existence. At this time, Hemant Pant was present there. He was shampooing Baba's legs. When he heard Baba's words, he thought to himself, what? Mr. Satya read for just a week and got a reward, and I have been reading it for 40 years with no result. His 7 day stay here becomes fruitful, while my 7 years stay from 1910 to 1917 is worth nothing. Like a chatak bird, I am always waiting for the merciful cloud Baba to pour its nectar on me and bless me with his instructions. No sooner did this thought cross the mind that Baba knew what Hemant Pant was thinking. It was the experience of Baba's devotees that Baba read and understood all their thoughts, and that he suppressed the negative thoughts and encouraged the good ones. Having read Hemant Pant's mind, Baba at once asked him to get up, go to Shama is Madhavrao Deshpande, get 15 rupees as dakshina from him, sit and chat with him for a while and then return. Mercy dawned in Baba's mind, and so he issued this order. And who could disobey Baba's orders? Hemant Pant immediately left the masjid and went to Shama's house. Shama had just bathed and was wearing a dhotar. He came out and asked Hemant Pant, how is it that you are here now? It seems that you have come from the masjid. Why do you look restless and dejected? And why are you alone? Please sit and rest while I do my worship. In the meanwhile, please help yourself to panvida. Panvida is the leaves with betel nuts, and let us then have a pleasant chat. After saying this, he went inside and Hemant Pant sat alone in the front of veranda. He saw a well-known Marathi book named Nath Bhagavat on the window sill. This is a commentary by the Ekanath saint on the 11th chapter of the bigger Sanskrit work, the Bhagavat. At Sai Baba's suggestion, Bapu Sahib Jog and Kaka Sahib Dikshit read daily in Shirdi the Bhagavad Gita with its Marathi commentary named Bhavaratha Deepika or Gnaneshwari, a dialogue between Krishna and his devotee and friend Arjuna, Nath Bhagavat, a dialogue between Krishna and his servant devotee Uddhava, and also Ekanath's other big work, Bhavartha Ramayana. When devotees came to Baba and asked him certain questions, he sometimes answered them in part and asked them to go and listen to the readings of the above mentioned works. As these are the main treatises of Bhagavat Dharma, when the devotees went and listened, they got full and satisfactory replies to their questions. Hemant Pant also used to read daily a few portions of the book Nath Bhagavat. That day, he had not completed the daily portion of this reading, but had left it unfinished in order to accompany certain devotees who were going to the masjid. When he took the book from Shama's window sill and casually opened it, he found to his surprise that the unfinished portion turned up. He thought that Baba had sent him very kindly to Shama's house to enable him to complete his daily reading. So he went through the unfinished portion and completed it. As soon as this was over, Shama, after performing his worship, came out and the following conversation took place between them. Hemant Pant, I have come with a message from Baba. He has asked me to return with 15 rupees as dakshina from you and also to sit with you for a while, have a pleasant chat, and then return to the masjid with you. Shama, was surprised. I have no money to give. Please take my 15 namaskaras in lieu of dakshina. Hemad, all right, your namaskaras are accepted. Now let us chat for a while. Tell me some stories and leelas of Baba which will destroy our sins. Shama, then sit here for a while. Wonderful is the leela of the God, that is, leela of Baba. You know it already. I am a village rustic, while you are an enlightened citizen. You have seen some leela since you came here. How could I describe them to you? Well, eat the pan while I go in and get dressed. In a few minutes, Shama came out and began to talk to Hemad Pant. He asked, or he said, the Leela of this god, Baba, is unscrutable. There is no end to his Leelas. Who can really see them? He plays with his Leelas and yet he is unaffected by them. What do we rustics know? What does Baba not tell stories himself? Why does he send learned men like you to fools like me? His ways are inconceivable. I can only say that they are not human. With preface, Shama added, I now remember a story which I shall relate to you. I know it personally. As a devotee is resolute and determined, so is Baba's immediate response. Sometimes Baba puts the devotees to serve, test, and then gives them upadesh. Upadesh are the instructions. As soon as Hemad Pant heard the word Upadesh, a flash of lightning crossed through his mind. He at once remembered the story of Mr. Sati's Guru Charitra reading and thought that Baba might have sent him to Shama in order to bring peace to his restless mind. However, he curbed this feeling and began to listen to Shama's stories. They all showed how kind and affectionate Baba was to his devotees. Hemad Pant began to feel a sort of joy while hearing them. Then Shama began to tell the following story. Mrs. Radhabai Deshmukh's story. There was an old woman named Radhabai. Upon hearing of Baba's fame, she came to Shirdi with the people of Sangamanar. She received Baba's darshan and was very satisfied. She loved Baba dearly and resolved in her mind that she would accept Baba as her guru and get some upadesh, that is spiritual advice from him. She knew nothing else. She was determined to fast herself unto death until Baba accepted her and gave her some upadesh or mantra. She stayed in her lodging and stopped eating any food or drinking water for 3 days. I was frightened by the ordeal of the old woman and interceded with Baba on her behalf. I said, Deva, what is this you have started? You drag so many people here. You know that old lady, she is very obstinate and depends on you entirely. She has resolved to fast unto death if you don't accept and instruct her. If anything worse happens, people will blame you and say that Baba did not instruct her and she thus met her death. So please have some mercy on her, bless her, and instruct her. On seeing her determination, Baba sent for her and changed her mind by addressing her as follows. O mother, why are you subjecting yourself to unnecessary tortures and hastening your death? You're really my mother, and I am your child. Take pity on me and hear me through. I shall tell you my own story, which, if you listen to it carefully, will do you good. I had a guru. He was a great saint and was very merciful. I served him for very long, and yet he still would not blow any mantras into my ears. I had a keen desire never to leave him but to stay with him and serve him, and at all costs receive some instruction from him. But he had his own way. He first got my head shaved and asked me for 2 paise as dakshina. I gave the same at once. Since my guru was perfect, why should he ask for money, and how should he be called desireless? I replied that he never cared for coins. What had he to do with them? His 2 paise were firm faith and patience of perseverance. I gave them 2 paise or things to him, and he was pleased. I resorted to my Guru for 12 years. He raised me. There was no dearth of food and clothing. He was full of love and was love incarnate. How can I describe it? He loved me the most, rare as a Guru like him. When I looked at him, he seemed as if he was in deep meditation, and then we were both filled with bliss. Night and day I gazed at him without no thought of hunger and thirst. Without him I felt restless. I had no other object to meditate on or any other thing than my Guru to attend to. He was my sole refuge. My mind was always fixed on him. This is 1 paise of the Dakshina. Saburi, patience or perseverance, is the other paisa. I waited patiently and very long on my Guru and served him. The Saburi will ferry you across the sea of mundane existence. Saburi is the manliness in man. It removes all sins and afflictions, get rid of calamities in various ways, and casts aside all fear, and ultimately gives you success. Saburi is the mine of virtues and the consort of good thought. Nishta, faith, and Saburi, the patience, are like twin sisters that love each other very intimately. My Guru never expected any other thing from me. He never neglected me, protected me at all times. I lived with him and was sometimes away from him, yet I never felt the want or absence of his love. He always protected me by his glance, just as the tortoise feeds her young ones, whether they are near her or away from her on the other side of the river bank. Oh, mother, my Guru never taught me any mantra. Then how can I blow any mantra into your ears? Just remember that the Guru's tortoise like loving glance gives you happiness. Do not worry to get a mantra or upadesh from anybody. Make me the sole object of your thoughts and actions, and you will no doubt attain Paramatma, the spiritual goal of life. Look at me wholeheartedly, and in turn, look at you similarly. Sitting in the masjid, I speak the truth and nothing but the truth. No sadhanas or proficiency in the 6 Shastras are necessary. Have faith and confidence in your Guru. Believe fully that the Guru is the sole actor or doer. Blessed is he who knows the greatness of his Guru and thinks him to be Hari, Hara, and Brahma. Instructed in this way, the old lady was convinced. She bowed to Baba and gave up her fast. Hearing the story carefully and attentively and noting its significance and appropriateness, Hemad Pant was moved from top to toe. He was overflowing with joy. His throat was choked and he was unable to say a single word. Shama, on seeing him in this condition, asked him, "What is the matter with you? Why are you silent? How many Leelas of Babas do you want me to describe?" Just at that time, the bell in the masjid began to ring, announcing that the noon worship and arti ceremony had begun. Therefore, Shamad Hemad Pant hurried to the masjid. Bapu Sahib Jog had just started the worship. Women were standing inside the masjid, men were standing below in the open courtyard, and they were all singing the arti loudly in chorus to the accompaniment of drums. Shama walked up, pulling Hemad Pant with him. He sat to the right and Hemad Pant in front of Baba. On seeing them, Baba asked Hemad Pant to give the dakshina brought from Shama. He replied that Shama gave namaskaras in lieu of rupees and that he was there in person. Baba said, "All right, now let me know whether you both had a chat, and if so, tell me all that you talked about." Not minding the sounds of the bells, the drums, and the singing, Hemad Pant was eager to tell Baba what they had talked about and started to narrate it. Baba also appeared anxious to hear about it, and so he leaned forward to listen. Hemad Pant said everything that they talked about was very pleasant, and the story of the old lady was specially wonderful. He said that on hearing it, he thought that Baba's Leelas were inexplicable and that under the guise of the story, he had in fact received a blessing. Baba then said, "Wonderful is that story. How were you blessed?" I would like to know everything in detail from you. So tell me all about it. Then Hemant Pant related in full the story which he had heard a little while before and which had made a lasting impression on his mind. Hearing this, Baba was very pleased and asked him, did the story strike you? And did you catch its significance? He replied, yes, Baba. The restlessness of my mind was vanished and have got true peace and rest and come to know the true path. Then Baba spoke as follows: my method is quite unique. Remember well this one story, and it will be very useful. To get the knowledge realization of the self, dhyana meditation is necessary. If you practice it continuously, the vrittis, thoughts will be pacified. Then, being quite desireless, you should meditate on the Lord who is in all creatures. And when the mind is concentrated, that goal will be achieved. Meditate always on my formless nature, which is knowledge, incarnate, consciousness, and bliss. If you cannot do this, meditate on my form from top to toe as you see here. As you go on doing this, your vrittis will concentrate on one point, and the distinction between the dhyata meditator, dhyana, act of meditation, and dhyaya, the object meditated upon, will be lost, and the meditator will be one with the consciousness and will be merged in the Brahman. The mother tortoise is on one bank of the river, and her young ones are on the other side. She gives neither milk nor warmth to them. Her mere glance gives them nutrition. The young ones do nothing but remember, meditate upon their mother. The tortoise glance is to the young ones a downpour of nectar, their only source of happiness. Similarly is the relationship between Guru and his disciples. As Baba finished saying these last words, the chorus of the Aarti stopped and everyone shouted out loudly in one voice, victory to our Sadguru Sai Maharaj, whose existence, knowledge and bliss. Dear readers, let us imagine that we are at this time standing among the crowd in the masjid, and let us join them in the Jai Jaikar. After the Aarti ceremony was over, Prasad was distributed. Bapu Sahib Jog advanced as usual, and after bowing to Baba, gave into his hand a handful of sugar candy. Baba gave his entire quantity to Hemant Pant and said to him, if you take this story to heart and remember it well, your state will be as sweet as sugar candy. All your desires will be fulfilled and you will be happy. Hemant Pant bowed before Baba and implored, do favor me like this, bless and protect me always. Baba replied, hear the story, meditate on it, and assimilate its spirit. Then you will always remember and meditate on the Lord, who will manifest himself to you. Dear readers, Hemant Pant got the prasad of sugar candy then, and we now get the prasad of the sugar candy. Let us drink it to our heart's content, meditate on it, assimilate it, and be strong and happy by Baba's grace. Towards the end of the 19th chapter, Hemant Pant was dealt with some other matters which are given below. Baba's advice regarding our behavior. The following words that Baba said are general and invaluable. If they are remembered and acted upon, they will always do you good. Unless there is some relationship or connection, nobody goes anywhere. If any men or creatures come to you, do not discourteously drive them away, but receive them well and treat them with due respect. God will certainly be pleased if you give water to the thirsty, bread to the hungry, clothes to the naked, and give strangers a place to rest. If anybody wants any money from you and you are not inclined to give, do not give, but do not bark at them like a dog. Let anybody speak hundreds of things against you. Do not resent by giving them any bitter reply. If you always tolerate such things, you will certainly be happy. Let the world go topsy turvy. You remain where you are, standing or staying in your own place. Watch calmly the show of all these things passing before you. Demolish the wall of difference that separates you from me, and then the road for your meeting with a clear and open. The sense of differentiation as I and thou is the barrier that keeps the disciple away from the Guru. And unless that is destroyed, the state of union or atonement is not possible. God is the sole proprietor, nobody else is a protector. His method of work is extraordinary, invaluable, and inscrutable. His will be done, and He will show us the way and satisfy your desires. It is on account of the past relationship that we have come together. Thus, let us love and serve each other and be happy. He who attains the supreme goal of life is immortal and happy, while all others merely exist. Encouraging good thoughts. It is interesting to know how Sai Baba encouraged good thoughts. You have to surrender yourself completely to Him with love and devotion, and then you will see how He helps you with so many things. A saint once said that when you get a good thought immediately after awakening from your sleep, and if you cultivate the same thought during the day, your intellect will unfold and your mind will attain calmness. Hemant Path wanted to try this on a Wednesday night. Before going to bed, he thought tomorrow is Thursday, an auspicious day, and the place Shirdi is so holy. So let me remember and chant the Ramanama all the day. When he woke up the next morning, he remembered without any effort the name of Rama and was very pleased. Then, after finishing his morning duties, he went to see Baba with flowers. When he left Dikshit's Vada and was passing by Booty's Vada, Booty's Vada is the present Samadhi Mandir. He heard a beautiful song that was being sung in front of Baba in the masjid by Aurangabadkar. The song was Guru Kripanjan Payo Mere Bhai by Eknath, in which Eknath says that he got blessed in the form of the Guru's grace, which opened his vision and made him see Rama in his dreams and everywhere. There were so many songs, and yet, why was this particular song chosen? This is not miracle arranged by Baba to feed Hemant Pant's desire to sing Ramanama all day. All saints agree on the stress, the efficacy of chanting God's name. It is effective in fulfilling devotees' ambitions and in protecting and saving them from all calamities. Variety in Upadesh. A slanderer is corrected. Sai Baba required no special place or special time to give instructions. Whenever any occasions demanded it, he gave them freely. Once it so happened that a devotee reviled another behind his back. Forgetting merits, he dwelt on the faults of his brother and spoke so sarcastically that those who heard him were disgusted. Generally, we see that people have a tendency to scandalize others unnecessarily, and this brings an hatred and ill will. Saints see scandal in another light. They say that there are various ways of cleansing or removing dirt, but a scandal monger has a way of his own. He removes the dirt, that is, the faults of others by his tongue. Thus, in a way, he obliges the person whom he reviles, and for this he is to be thanked. Sai Baba had his own method of correcting the scandal monger. He knew by his omniscience that the slanderer had done, and when he met him at noon near the Lendi, Baba pointed out to him a pig that was eating filth near the fence and said to him, "Behold how with relish that is gorging dung, you conduct us similar. You go on reviling your own brethren to your heart's content. After performing many deeds of merit, you are born a man. And if you act like this, will Shirdi help you in any way?" Needless to say, the devotee took the lesson to heart. In this way, Baba gave the instructions whenever necessary. If these are borne in our minds and acted upon, our spiritual goal is not far off. There is a proverb which says, "If my Lord exists, he will feed me on my cot." This proverb is only true with respect to food and clothing. If anyone trusts in this and sits idly and does nothing in spiritual matters, he will be ruined. One has to exert himself to the utmost in order to attain self realization. The more he endeavors, the better for him. Baba said that he was omnipresent and was not limited to resolve the misunderstandings of those who thought that Baba was only his body. He incarnated himself in this form. And if any devotee meditated on him day and night with complete self surrender, he experienced a union with him. He who wants to get rid of the cycle of births and deaths should lead a righteous life with his mind calm and composed. He should always engage himself in good action, should do his duties and surrender himself heart and soul to Baba. He need not then be afraid of anything. He who trusts Baba wholeheartedly, hears and expounds his leelas, and does not think of anything else is sure to attain self realization. Baba asked many to remember his name and to surrender to him. But to those who wanted to know who they are, he advised Shravanam, that is study, and Mananam, that is meditation too. Some he advised remembering God's name, to others hearing his Leelas, and to some the worship of his feet, while to others reading and studying Adhyatma Ramayana, Gnaneshwari, and the sacred scriptures. He made some sit near his feet, while he sent some to Khandoba's temple, and to others he advised the repetition of the 1,000 names of Vishnu, and to some to study of Chandogya Upanishad and the Gita. There were no limits or restrictions to his instructions. To some he gave them in person, and to others through visions in their dreams. To one addicted to alcohol, he appeared in his dream, sat on his chest, pressed on it, and only let him go after the devotee promised not to touch the liquor anymore. To some, he explained mantras like Gurur Brahma in their dreams. To other devotees who were practicing Hatha Yoga, he sent words that they should stop Hatha Yoga practices, sit quietly, and wait. It is impossible to describe all his ways and methods. In ordinary worldly dealings, he set examples by these actions, one of which is given below. Remuneration for labor. One day at noon, Baba walked up to Radha Krishna Mai's house and said, "Bring me a ladder." A few men brought one and leaned it against a wall, as directed by Baba. He climbed upon the roof of Vaman Gundkar's house, walked over the roof of Radha Krishna Mai's house, and then climbed off from the other side. No one knew why Baba said this. Radha Krishna Mai was at that time suffering from malaria. It may have been to drive off that fever that he climbed on the roof immediately after getting off the ladder. Baba paid 2 rupees to each of the persons who bought the ladder. Somebody asked Baba why he paid so much for this. He replied that nobody should take the labor of others in vain. The worker should be paid his dues promptly and liberally. End of chapter 18 and 19. Om Sai Ram. Om Sai Ram, Sai Satcharitra Chapter 20. Topic: Das Ganu's problem solved by Kaka's maid. In this chapter, Hemant Pant describes how Das Ganu's problem was solved by Kaka Sahib Dikshit's maid. Preliminary: Sahib was originally formless. He assumed a form for the sake of his devotees with the help of the actress Maya. He played the part of the lead actor in the big drama of the universe. Let us remember and visualize Sri Sai. Let us go to Shirdi and watch carefully the programs after the noon Aarti. After the Aarti ceremony was over, Sai Baba used to come out of the masjid, stand at its edge, distribute udi to his devotees with very kind and loving looks. The devotees also got up with equal passionate, grasped his feet, and stood there staring at him, enjoying the shower of udi. Baba passed handfuls of udi into the palms of his devotees and marked their foreheads with udi with his fingers. The love he bore for them was boundless. Then he addressed each of the devotees individually as follows: "O Bau, go have your lunch. Anna, go to your lodgings. Bapu, enjoy your dishes." In this way he accosted each and every devotee and sent them home. Even now, one can enjoy these sights. If one brings into play their imagination, they can visualize and enjoy them. Now, bringing Sai before our mental vision, let us meditate on him, from his feet up to his face, and prostrate before him humbly and lovingly. Let us now respectfully revert to the story of this chapter. The Ishavasya Upanishad. Das Ganu once started to write a Marathi commentary on the Ishavasya Upanishad, let us first give the readers a brief summary of this Upanishad before proceeding further. It is called a Mantropanishad as it is embodied in the mantras of the Vedic Samhita. It constitutes the last chapter of the Vajasani Samhita, that is Yajurveda, and it is therefore called the Vajasani Samhitopanishad. Since it is embodied in Vedic Samhitas, it is regarded as superior to all the Upanishads which occur in the Brahmanas and Aranyakas, explanatory treatises on mantra and rituals. Other Upanishads are considered to be the commentaries on the truths mentioned briefly in the Ishavyasa Upanishad. For instance, the biggest of the Upanishads, the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, is considered by Pandit Satvalekar to be a running commentary on the Ishavyasa Upanishad. Professor R.D. Ranade says, the Ishopanishad is quite a small Upanishad and yet it contains many hints which shows an extraordinarily piercing insight. Within the short compass of 18 verses, it gives a valuable mystical description of the Atman, a description of the ideal sage who stands unruffled in the midst of temptation and sorrow, and the adumbration of the doctrine of karmas, yoga as later formulated. And finally, a reconciliation of the claims of knowledge and work. The most valuable ideas that lie at the root of the Upanishad are that of a logical synthesis between the two opposites of knowledge and work, which are both required according to the Upanishad. Page 24 of the Constructive Survey of the Upanishad Philosophy. In other place, he says that the poetry of the Ishopanishad is a co-mixture of moral, mystical and metaphysical. From the brief description given below, anyone can see how difficult it is to translate this Upanishad from Sanskrit into a vernacular language and summarize its exact meanings. Das Ganu translated into Marathi verse by verse, but as he did not comprehend the gist or essence of the Upanishad, he was not satisfied with his performance. He therefore consulted some learned men regarding his doubts and difficulties and discussed it with them at great length. They did not solve his doubts, and nor did they give him any rational and satisfactory explanation. So Das Ganu was a little restless about this matter. The Sadguru is the only one competent and qualified to explain. As we have seen, the Upanishad is the quintessence of the Vedas. It is the science of self-realization. It is the weapon which can rend asunder the bondage of life and death and set us free. Therefore, Das Ganu thought that only he who has himself attained self-realization could give him the true interpretation of this Upanishad. When nobody could satisfy Das Ganu, he resolved to consult SaiBaba about this. When he got an opportunity to go to Shirdi, he saw SaiBaba prostrated before him and mentioned his difficulties about the Ishavasya Upanishad and requested Baba to give him the correct solution. SaiBaba blessed him and said, "You need not be anxious, as there will be no difficulty in this matter. Kaka Sahib Dikshit maid will solve your doubts at Wild Pale in the Mumbai on your way home." The people who were there heard this and thought that Baba was probably joking and said, "How could an illiterate maid solve difficulties of this nature?" But Das Ganu thought otherwise. He was sure that whatever Baba said must come true, as Baba's word was the decree of Brahma, the Almighty. Kaka's maid. Since Das Ganu fully trusted Baba's words, he left Shirdi and came to Vile Parle, a suburb of Bombay and stayed with Kaka Sahib Dikshit. The next day, when Dasganu was enjoying a nap, some say when he was engaged in worship, he heard a poor girl singing a beautiful song in a clear and melodious voice. The subject matter of the song was a crimson colored sari. How nice it was, how fine its embroidery was, how beautiful its ends and borders were, etc. He liked the song so much that he came out of his room and saw that it was being sung by a young girl, the sister of a servant of Kaka Sahib's. The girl was cleaning vessels and only had a torn rag on her person. On seeing her impoverished condition and her jovial temperament, Das Ganu felt pity for her, and when Rao Bahadur M.V. Pradhan gave him a pair of dhotas the next day, he requested Mr. Pradhan to give the poor little girl a sari. Rao Bahadur bought a good sari and presented it to her. Like a starving person getting good dishes to eat, her joy knew no bounds. The next day she wore this new sari, and with great joy and merriment, whirled, danced, and played with other girls. The following day she kept the new sari in her box at home and came with the old and torn rags. But she looked just as merry as she did the previous day. On seeing this, Dasganu's pity was transformed into admiration. He thought that since the girl was poor, she had to wear a torn rag. But now she had a new sari, which she kept in reserve, and despite wearing the old rag, showed no trace of sorrow or dejection. Thus he realized that all her feelings of pain and pleasure depend upon the attitude of her mind. On thinking deeply about this incident, he realized that man ought to enjoy whatever God has bestowed on him, with a firm conviction that God bests him on all sides and that whatever is bestowed on him by God must be for his good. In this particular case, the impoverished condition of the poor girl, her torn rag, the new sari, the donor, and the acceptance were all pervaded by the Lord. Hence, Das Ganu got a practical demonstration of the lessons of the Upanishad, the lesson of contentment with one's own lot, in the belief that whatever happens is ordained by God and is ultimately good for us. Unique method of teaching. From the above incident, the readers will see that Baba's method was unique and varied. Though Baba never left Shirdi, he sent some to Machindaragad, Kolhapur or Sholapur to practice sadhanas. To some he appeared in his usual form, while to others he appeared when they were awake or dreaming and satisfied their desires. It is impossible to describe all the methods that Baba used in imparting instruction to his devotees. In this particular case, he sent Das Ganu to Vile Parle, where he solved Das Ganu's problem through the maid sister. To those who say that it was not necessary to send Das Ganu to Vile Parle and that Baba could have personally taught him, we say that Baba followed the best course. How else could Das Ganu have learned such a great lesson? How could he have learned that the poor maid and her sari were pervaded by the Lord in such a practical way? Now, we close the chapter with another beautiful extract about the Upanishad. The ethics of Ishavasya Upanishad. One of the main features of the Ishavasya Upanishad is the ethical advice it offers, and it is interesting to note that the ethics of the Upanishad are definitely based upon the metaphysical position advanced in it. The very opening words of the Upanishad tell us that God pervades everything. As a corollary from his metaphysical position, the ethical advice it offers is that man ought to enjoy whatever God bestows on him, in the firm belief that whatever is bestowed on him by God must be good. It follows naturally that the Upanishad should forbid us from coveting another man's property. In fact, we are fittingly taught here a lesson of contentment with one's own lot, in the belief that whatever happens is divinely ordained and it is hence good for us. Another moral lesson is that man must spend his lifetime always performing actions, especially the karmas enjoined in the Shastras, with a mood of resignation to his will. Inactivity, according to this Upanishad, would be the canker of the soul. It is only when a man spends his lifetime in doing actions in this manner that he can hope to attain the ideal of Naishakarmya. Finally, the text goes on to say that a man who sees all beings in the self sees the self as existing in all beings, and for whom everything that exists has become the self can never suffer infatuation. What ground would such a man have for grief? Anger, infatuation, and grief verily proceed from out our not being able to see the Atma in all things. But a man who realizes the oneness of all things, for whom everything has become the self, must ipso facto cease to be affected by the common foibles of humanity. End of chapter 20. Om Sai Ram.